What many believed ended Stephen Colbert's late-night career has now earned him one of the biggest honors of his career. The former Late Show host is set to receive a prestigious anti-censorship award after refusing to back down from criticism of President Donald Trump's administration. The recognition comes just weeks after Colbert's show was canceled, following his explosive remarks about Paramount's controversial settlement with Trump. For many of his supporters, what got him taken off air has now won him an award. Stephen Colbert will receive the Columbus Foundation's Anti-Censorship Award at the 47th Annual American Book Awards on September 26 at the University of California, Berkeley. According to the organizers, the honor recognizes people who stand up against censorship and celebrates outstanding achievements across America's diverse literary and creative community. The award comes after Colbert publicly criticized Paramount, the parent company of CBS, for agreeing to pay $16.5 million to settle President Donald Trump's lawsuit against 60 Minutes. Colbert didn't hold back, accusing the company of giving in instead of standing its ground. Just days later, CBS announced that The Late Show would come to an end, fueling speculation that his outspoken criticism had played a role in the decision. Colbert's Late Show aired its final episode on May 21, but even after the cancellation was announced last July, he continued taking aim at President Trump despite repeated criticism and attacks from the White House. The show now has one final milestone ahead. The Late Show will compete at the Emmy Awards for the last time on September 14, bringing an end to one of television's longest-running late-night franchises. This latest honor comes less than a week after President Donald Trump reignited his feud with late-night television, launching fresh attacks on Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Fallon during the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner.
They get a lot. They have talent. You know who has talent? Their agent, getting them the money they get. They have no talent, but they are not comedians.
Looks like President Trump has reignited his long-running feud with Stephen Colbert, and this time Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon got dragged into it too. Trump returned to the spotlight at the rescheduled White House Correspondents Association dinner, where he spent part of his nearly hour-long speech taking aim at some of America's biggest late-night hosts. Speaking to the crowd at Washington's Waldorf Astoria, Trump mocked the White House Correspondents Association for not booking a comedian this year, before saying they had considered Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon instead. He then lumped Fallon, Kimmel, and Stephen Colbert together, declaring, quote, "they're terrible," before insisting they have no talent. The president didn't stop there.
But this year, the association decided not to have a comedian, so they considered using Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. These guys, they're terrible. They're terrible. Stephen Colbert, these are people without talent. They get a lot. They have talent. You know who has talent? Their agent, getting them the money they get. They have no talent, but they are not comedians. They're not funny people. They're angry people. They're sick people. But the association really put on a big show, and they have somebody very special. I look forward to seeing him. And so they thought about going with a professional clown for entertainment, but Adam Shifty Schiff was not available. You know, he's known, I called him, I hate some people, you know, I shouldn't say this, I'm not supposed to hate, I'm supposed to love everybody. But he's a terrible person, he's a liar.
Ironically, Trump's speech had opened on a very different note. The remarks immediately triggered a wave of reactions online. One social media user fired back, quote, "says the angriest, sickest person to ever hold public office." British-American journalist Mehdi Hassan also weighed in, writing, quote, "this is what much of the mainstream media turned up for tonight? Pathetic." Another critic described Trump as, quote, a sad, feeble-minded, incoherent old man trying to be relevant, adding that he'll never be the men those late-night hosts are. And perhaps the harshest reaction came from another viewer who wrote, quote, this is the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where jokes, roasting, and playful ribbing are expected. Instead, Trump spent the night airing grievances like he always does, before ending the post by calling him a pea-brained narcissist who probably thinks it's funny like a sociopath. Yet, the headline-grabbing moment did not play out quite like the commander-in-chief planned. The outburst comes on the heels of another controversial moment from the same night, where a separate joke about sex reportedly landed in complete silence before quickly going viral online and adding to the growing backlash.
And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole freaking stupid speech that they wrote. I think, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love, too, So we're looking for term limits. Does anybody understand this stuff? But I really do wonder whether the Democrats are trying to lose the midterms. In Maine, they nominated a guy with a Nazi tattoo. But don't worry, Democrats. Word is that Plattner's replacement, he throws bottles at women. This guy throws bottles. This guy's another lunatic, by the way. Although I think Plattner might have done surprisingly well, because we're in the age of Trump.
Trump's latest appearance at the White House Correspondents' Association dinner is making headlines, but not for the reason he may have expected. The U.S. president is facing a wave of criticism after a joke about sex was met with complete silence from the room, before the awkward moment quickly went viral.
I do think we need term limits in Congress. I think term limits are very important because I see what's happening. The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good.
The room stayed silent. Sensing the joke hadn't landed, Trump stopped to explain the punchline himself.
You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole freaking stupid speech that they wrote.
Even after the explanation, the reaction remained subdued, prompting Trump to poke fun at his own performance as the moment unfolded. But the biggest response came online. Social media users slammed the president, with one writing, "Such a disgrace. Ha ha ha, get it?" Another commented, "How embarrassing for the American people to have this lunatic as your leader. The world is laughing at you, sadly." The criticism didn't stop there. One user posted, "He's deranged, insane, broken, and embarrassing. What the hell have we done allowing this man to be president?" Another added, "What the ever-loving heck is wrong with this moron?"
You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole freaking stupid speech that they wrote.
The awkward exchange has now become one of the most talked about moments from Trump's appearance at the White House Correspondents' Association dinner, with critics arguing the failed joke overshadowed the rest of his remarks and fueled another round of online backlash.
I do think we need term limits in Congress. I think term limits are very important because I see what's happening. The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was actually the only thing I thought was good in this whole frickin' stupid speech that they wrote. That was the only good one, and that went down with not exactly great laughter. I think, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love, too, So we're looking for term limits. Does anybody understand this stuff? But I really do wonder whether the Democrats are trying to lose the midterms. In Maine, they nominated a guy with a Nazi tattoo. But don't worry, Democrats. Word is that Plattner's replacement, he throws bottles at women. This guy throws bottles. This guy's another lunatic, by the way. Although I think Plattner might have done surprisingly well because we're in the age of Trump. Call it what you want. People can do well today. Plattner, I don't know. But, people don't have the guts to stick it out, but it looked like he was guilty of a lot of stuff. He certainly didn't defend himself very well. In Texas, the Democrats are running a candidate named James Telefrico, who hates guns, hates oil, hates sex, hates women, and who said he is, quote, a Christian who hates Christianity. Other than that, I think his platform is quite good. And that means that he's not going to do very well against Ken Paxton, who hopefully in Texas is going to win. But Telefrico, he's Alfred. You know what he looks like to me? Alfred E. Newman. Do you remember Alfred E. Newman, Mad Magazine? I said, that guy is Alfred E. Newman. Can't imagine he'd win. Well, I have all of the press here in one place. I have to say that we're having an amazing load of accomplishments that the media never talks about. For example, under my administration, a once feared and powerful regime that relentlessly attacked America has finally been toppled. Their former leaders have been removed, and they're now being run by a gay dictator facing internal divisions. But I, for one, wish Barry Weiss all the best at CBS News. She's a wonderful woman. Most of the press lives here in Washington, D.C., and you should be thankful for me for what my administration and I have done to make our nation's capital, which was one of the most dangerous and unsafe cities anywhere in the world, one of the safest cities in the United States. Crime is down 88%, and our capital is shining again with 62 monuments, statues, water fountains looking more beautiful. The graffiti's all gone. The tents are all moved out of the parks. The fences are all done. Our capital looks like it's really in good shape. And people coming here, people in the White House, they work in the White House, they all say, young women, young guys walk up, they say, thank you, sir. 2 years ago, we lived in a dangerous city. We lived in a city where 150 people were killed a year. And now we have almost a crime-free city. Our National Guard has done an incredible job, and we've removed over 5,000 career criminals. We removed, there's one stat, I think it's a great stat. It's to me, it's fantastic. 2% of the people create 91% of the crime. That's something you can fix, and we fix it. We moved out over 5,000 career criminals out of Washington, D.C., and we have the greatest capital in the world. Again, it's beautiful, it's thriving, the restaurants are thriving. You couldn't get into a restaurant because they didn't have, all the restaurants were closing. And if you even got in, you felt unsafe. People were getting into Ubers and they were being attacked when they were in an Uber. It's not happening anymore. We have tough, smart people, and they have done a fantastic job. Washington, D.C. is safe again. You can't get into a restaurant. The restaurants are opening up. They're opening up all over the city. They can't get, it's the exact opposite.